You're listening to Undisturbed. This is your host, Kyle Dangler, and today we're going to have on guest EJ Anosike, East Orange, New Jersey native, former Sacred Heart basketball player, and he just transferred to the University of Tennessee, one of the most highly touted transfers in NCAA basketball. This offseason is EJ, so we're going to be giving him a call now, talking about his career, what he's been up to, and then just talking about his transfer to the University of Tennessee. So let's give him a call now. Let's get going. What's going on, EJ?
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well. Can't complain.
Yeah, so first thing I wanted to ask you, on the podcast was, how are you doing in terms of, the whole coronavirus thing? Obviously, you're on here to talk basketball, but I mean, how's it going, just with everything going on right now?
Everything's going well. I can't complain. Just taking it day by day.
Yeah, and for you, especially going through the transfer portal, during all this, what was that process like in terms of, maybe not going to see all the colleges? And I know, your sister playing at, the University of Tennessee. I mean, is that why, maybe you chose there just because of the comfort level and knowing that, obviously it's a great program, but also, being there, and visiting, prior to, everything that's been going on right now?
When it came to making my decision and picking up schools, I was speaking to the coaches on a consistent level every day, speaking to different coaches. I was doing my own research, looking at the facilities. So it was a lot of it during this process was on me to look up and do research on each school and find where I fit in the best. And Tennessee just was the best place for me.
Awesome. And, especially, going through all this and, just looking at your career at Sacred Heart, going through, your freshman year, coming from Paramus Catholic, we're from also North Jersey. We go to Seton Hall. I wanted to ask you, going to Paramus Catholic and going to Sacred Heart, I mean, what was that transition like for you in terms of, going to college basketball and, playing on a different stage? I mean, how did that go for you in terms of, just preparing on a new level?
Well, after I went to Paramus Catholic, I did a postgraduate year at St. Thomas More School in Connecticut, one of the best prep schools in the country. And going there helped me and made the transition easier because I was playing against top competition in the country and some of the best players. So playing against high-level players every day definitely helped me get better in that aspect. And going into college, the transition was really easy, especially once you get through the summer session. Then once the season came, everything was pretty easy for me. It was just the opportunity wasn't there my first year, but it came soon after.
And for you, on the court, specifically, what do you pride yourself on the most? Obviously, I'm sure, rebounding, obviously you're known for that, as well as scoring. But, I mean, what do you pride yourself on, when you step on the court?
Winning.
Winning?
I played to win, yeah.
And, going to, Tennessee, obviously them having a down year last year. Before that, having a few successful years, in a row. Some of their consistent players that are now, transitioning into the NBA. What are you looking forward to most at the University of Tennessee? Just playing at a more major school rather than at Sacred Heart, which D1 and everything. But University of Tennessee, in the SEC, going to be playing on bigger stages. Is that what you're looking forward to most?
I'm just looking forward to competing against the best players and just playing to win and definitely trying to win a championship here. That's definitely what I look forward to most, just night in, night out, just playing against great players and hopefully winning.
And, transitioning into freshman year, averaging a few points, few rebounds, and then, last year and this year, producing at a high level. I wanted to ask you, what made you, decide to transfer? We could talk a lot about, why you chose Tennessee and stuff, but I mean, what was the decision like, to enter the transfer portal, after spending, the majority of your college, life and career at Sacred Heart?
Well, I'm graduating this year from Sacred Heart University, and I just wanted to take the next step in my career and start a new chapter, especially for grad school. get my degree at another institution, and I want to play at a higher level for my senior year. So that's really all that took place. I guess I got everything I had. I graduated, and now it's time for the next step.
Talking about the coaching staff at Tennessee, what kind of drew you to them in terms of, obviously playing there, but I mean, what was the coaching staff's, message, and, what drew you to them more than, say, the other schools?
Every school had a good pitch and said a lot of good things and what they had planned for me. With Coach Barnes and his staff, they want to win a championship, and that was one of my goals as well. I want to go somewhere to win, and he definitely felt like in his coaching staff believed that I could have a big role in helping them accomplish those goals, and I believe I could too. And I felt like it was the best situation for me as a player to grow and develop and take my game to the next level.
Did you ever think that, coming from Paramus Catholic, doing that extra prep year, going to Sacred Heart, not getting the major powerhouse looks, in terms of, offers and scholarships, going to Sacred Heart, did you ever think that, your path was going to lead to Tennessee at some point? I mean, it almost feels like destiny probably for you, just in terms of, your sister playing there, and, having ties there. I mean, is it safe to say that, this is kind of, a surreal moment for you?
I guess you could say that. I was just a really late bloomer. I really didn't really blossom until after I graduated my senior year, summer going into prep school. So I was really under the radar for most of my career. And then once I got to Sacred Heart, I just kept working and I made a name for myself. And everything just takes care of itself when you put the work in.
And, speaking of that lurk, the late bloomer, I mean, what about your game, at Sacred Heart over the past, 3 years, have you improved on the most? Just in terms of, obviously, getting more minutes, more touches, we could say that. But I mean, what about, you personally, putting in the extra work? I mean, what has that transitioned for you personally in terms of your on the court success?
I definitely worked on a lot of my post game at Sacred Heart and my mid post game because that's where I was getting the ball the most, and that's where how the offense ran. So I would put a lot of emphasis on working on those two aspects of my game alongside my 3-point shooting, and I just over time just everything just started to fall together at the right time. So that definitely helped my development. It was a lot of work on my own. And just staying truthful to the grind and trusting the process.
And in terms of, the rebounding aspect of your game, obviously, you were one of the best rebounders in the country last year. Your brother was a former college basketball player and was known also for his rebounding. I mean, is it almost just in your blood to, rebound in terms of, knowing where, the ball may fall, just in terms of, the bounce off the glass? I mean, how does that go for you in terms of preparing for that? And, trying to, almost, kind of project where the ball is going to go off a rebound?
It's definitely something that's in my family. Like, it's something that everyone takes pride in my family, rebounding the ball. I just felt like it's just something, a skill that I just got better with over time. Just always wanted to had a knack for the ball. Was trying to do anything to help your team win. So that's definitely the biggest influence in me rebounding.
And going through everything, everything that's going on now, in the world and whatnot, not being able to, go to Tennessee probably to, take a visit. How in contact are you, not only with the coaches, but, with your teammates, come next fall? I mean, how is kind of the camaraderie that you felt thus far, after deciding to go there?
It was good. It was a lot of excitement. In Knoxville. My sister lives in Knoxville, so it was a good experience. Everyone's happy that I'm coming to Knoxville with everything going on in the world. It brought some good news to the city, so I felt really happy. I look forward to talking more with our teammates and working out with those guys as soon as everything clears out.
And, Sacred Heart, I'm sure is going to have a special place in your heart just in terms of, everything, that you've done there. But Off the court, I wanted to ask you. We talked a lot about the on the court stuff that you've blossomed over your career. But what about off the court, just in terms of growing as a person? At your time at Sacred Heart and the prep school. I mean, what have you seen yourself kind of blossom into off the court?
Definitely matured over the years, especially coming in as a freshman, going to prep school, living in college. I was on my own most of the time, and it helped me get a sense of independency, what it's like to be on your own and getting things done at the right time. And I just felt like I improved in a lot of areas, especially as a leader.
Awesome. And getting more minutes, playing more, starting more games at Sacred Heart. I mean, what was that like in terms of having to I'm sure being at Paramus Catholic, being over 1,000 point score, going to the prep school, and having to take that period in 2017 to not start games but come off the bench. I mean, was that a new role for you, just in terms of maybe not being the guy with the ball at most times, or maybe not getting the looks that you thought you were going to get, or maybe that you were used to?
It was a tough period, especially that year because we were losing. So like losing, it doesn't feel good for anybody. It was definitely something that it was I had to adjust to, and I just had to trust the process, put the work in, and wait for my opportunity to come. Even though things were bad at that time, it got better next year and the year after. So definitely, I'm appreciative I went through that period my freshman year.
In terms of also looking at the opponents, just in terms of Sacred Heart, now going to Tennessee, especially playing some other powerhouse schools in the SEC. How much time do you put into the actual preparation for the game? Obviously there's a feel for the game during the game and during the whole process. But how much time do you put into film before the game, in terms of scouting out who you're going to be playing against in the post, or just the defense that they're running? I mean, obviously the whole team, just in terms of, I'm sure the coaching staff has you guys watch film, but how much time do you take personally to study the opponent that you might be going up against personally?
I take a lot of time. I watch a lot of film, um, especially with every game that I play. I watch a lot of film. Try to watch as much film as the coaches do. That was always my mentality. So I'm extra prepared, and when the game happens, I'll be able to tell my teammates what's going on. So that's really how it is.
And in terms of you mentioned the leadership before, just in terms of what you've grown into. How did that go for you? Just having to take a bigger role. Not only on the court in terms of your play, but having to become more of a leader. I mean, is that something that you were used to? Did you have to get maybe more accustomed to it? How did that go for you, just in terms of maybe being more of a vocal leader and more of a leader on and off the court as you grew at Sacred Heart?
I always felt like I was a natural born leader. Always did try to do the right things and bring people along. And I think it's just something that just developed more over time. With the more that you continue to do the right things and people see what comes with doing the right things, then they begin to follow you. So it's something that didn't happen overnight. It took time. But I definitely consider myself a natural born leader.
Awesome. Final serious question for you before we ask you a few other questions. The final question is, how kind of in tune and how much involved was your family, in the process to go to Tennessee? I know your sister, went there and everything. How much, time did you put into it, in terms of, talking to your family, and, just making sure overall for everyone and for you, Tennessee was the spot that, EJ was going to go to?
Um, this process was really on me. It was me making my decision for the next step in my career. Now that I'm older, I went through the recruiting process once, and
Yeah.
my family really was involved in my first decision in attending college. And now that I'm older, I was fortunate enough to have the trust and responsibility where I could make decisions for myself and what I feel is best for me to take the next steps in my career.
Awesome. For you, I just wanted to ask you a few other questions, and then we'll let you go. Maybe they're kind of more off the court questions for you. First one is, what's your favorite pregame go-to meal?
Uh, the acai bowl.
Okay. For you, where's your favorite place that you've played thus far in your career? Not in terms of who you've played for, but what arena, what stadium. I mean, where just feels like home to you. When you step on the court.
And my whole life, or just in college?
Whole life, yeah.
I would say Paramus Catholic, but in college, one place that I love to play at, it would definitely be the Pitt Center.
Okay.
I played most of my games there.
Yeah. For you, what was your major? I know, just reading up about you, but I mean, can you just speak, what's your major and, how's that been going for you just in terms of, academically, doing that and balancing basketball?
I'm a finance and economics major, and I have a minor in accounting. And it's going pretty well. I finished up all my coursework, so I'm a graduate, so
awesome.
It went well.
For you, what's your most anticipated thing when you get to Knoxville next fall? I mean, what are you looking forward to most? I'm sure you're looking forward to winning, meeting the teammates, but is there anything else that you're really looking forward to, doing once you get down there?
Just putting in work, working out with the guys, and just getting better. That's what I look forward to the most.
Awesome. Now, I'm sure everything. The aspirations are the NBA for you, but what after your basketball life professionally, can we expect to see you? Maybe what's another path that we can see you do? After basketball is all said and done for you.
I can see myself being still in the basketball world, whether in the front office, running a professional team, or definitely being a scout or running my own grassroots program, something like that.
And for you, at Sacred Heart, obviously a lot of cool moments on the court. Without getting in any trouble, what is your favorite moment off the court at Sacred Heart, just in terms of your time there? Besides the cold weather.
My favorite moment? That's a good one, because I have a lot. I would say it would be the outside of basketball. I think it was a community service trip going to South Dakota.
Oh, wow.
And working on the Lakota reservation. Helping out there, that would be my favorite moment.
Cool. In terms of final question for you, I wanted to ask you, the process at Tennessee and everything that's going on. For you, besides going to Tennessee and everything, what should people know about you just in terms of, who you, really are?
I'm just a hardworking guy. I'm easy to get along with. I'm really straightforward, and I'm a great person to be around.
Yeah. And for you, Tennessee and everything, obviously all the other schools, but was that always just, the favorite in your mind just because of your ties down there?
It was one of my dream schools since I was young, but when making the decision, I weighed every option. I put my emotions aside and went with I believed was best for me.
And I probably already know the answer to this question, but, everything, the depth chart and everything, the coaching staff, how far do you think you could go next year just in terms of, the on-the-court stuff at Tennessee?
I think we can go far. I think we can go really far.
Awesome.
I think I have a lot of success there.
Awesome. Final question for you. I mentioned, in the beginning part, we go to Seton Hall. You're from East Orange. The last question was for you. Why not Seton Hall? We needed you there.
I can't really answer that one.
No, we're just joking.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so just, thanks for coming on. We appreciate the time that you've given us, just in terms of, with everything going on. Best of luck to you. Congratulations. You're going to be graduating probably within the next month. We look forward to your time at Tennessee next year, and just looking forward to seeing what you do, on and off the court.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, have a good rest of your day, and just stay safe out there. We wish you all the best.
Thank you. You too.
Have a good day.
You too.
Yeah, so that was EJ Anosike going into the University of Tennessee basketball program from the transfer portal from Sacred Heart University in Connecticut. Looking forward to seeing what EJ does. Awesome interview. One of the highly touted transfers in the portal this offseason. So great to see and great to talk to him. A New Jersey native, right around the corner from us. So just thanks for EJ to coming on. Big appreciation for that. And, we wish him all the best in all his future endeavors. Looking forward to what he does at Tennessee next year. And, just afterwards, what he does in his playing career and, his personal life. Wish him all the best. Thanks for everyone for listening. Truly grateful and appreciate that, you guys tuned in thus far and, this far, in the podcast. If you're still listening, thanks for everything. Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe the video, and just keep on watching. We appreciate every view, every second that everyone's tuned in, and just stay safe out there with everything going on, and we appreciate you all.